Okay, folks. Well, unfortunately, the penultimate episode, which is usually a pretty dang good episode, I think a majority of the times that when it comes to Sisters, looking at the first 6 seasons of the show, of course, typically the penultimate episode is not just a grand setup for the finale, but in most cases, and from my own opinions here, the penultimate episode is typically better than the season finales. But in this case, 4 out of 10. I This episode really felt wonky in terms of how it utilized its time. I mean, aside from Fatima finally calling her cousin, Madam, I don't think that there was really much else to talk about in terms of something to have people excited. I mean, it wasn't until Fatima got shoved down that people were like, "Oh, whoa, 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 it's about to go down," because everything leading up to that felt just really kind of stale. From Andy continuing to lie, even though everybody around her at this point knows, girl, we know something's up. Like, you wouldn't just dump Jordan after 3 plus months to then just get right back together with Gary. I mean, sure, the first 6 seasons of the show, this wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. But this time around, we can tell something is wrong. And it really doesn't help that despite being a lawyer, Andy can't just look someone in the eye and tell them a lie, which is really weird. I get it. It's like a physical thing where it's like, oh, the body language. We know she's lying yet again. Um, she's supposed to be a lawyer. So we're going to jump into this. Probably won't be that long of a review because just like the live stream, I think within like 15 minutes we talked about the episode. So yeah, before moving forward, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. I really do appreciate that in terms of support. Please hit subscribe. Want to get to 300,000 by the end of the year, but I don't know if that's going to happen unless Zatima finally does come out and I get some extra momentum. But I don't think Sisters will be coming back until either December or January 2025. But as always, just let me know your thoughts in the comments on the episode. And thanks for the support on the trailer breakdown. I wanted to make sure that I got that video out immediately because it is the final trailer of the season. And I woke up yesterday morning like at 4:30 and people had sent it to me. So I had to make sure I got it out there. And the trailer itself, like I said in my breakdown, while it looks a bit exciting, it just seems like the only eventful thing will be the final minutes of the episode when everybody goes to the venue. Everything else just be set up. So yeah, the first scene is Andy just continuing to lie, saying that I love Gary, I always have, and Jordan is demanding she tells the truth. It's like, every time I touched you, every time I held you, you were thinking about him. And it's like, Andy, come on, tell me something. But she just demands that he leaves, and he literally looks her dead in the eye like, look, I know you're lying to me, and I know you wouldn't be doing this unless Gary had something on you. So he just leaves. And then Fatima comes in and is like, wait, what did I miss? What's going on? And then basically, Andy's having he's controlling everything, and I can't take it. And then Fatima's like, nah, I'm done. I'm going to take care of this. So Fatima leaves, the law firm. And then from there, she goes over to Hayden's house, which this was a very weird scene to me because, okay, so we go over to Tamara and Hayden and they're going back and forth about the whole Miss Marie thing. And then Hayden throws the other thing in her face about how, well, hey, what about you? Show me that phone. You talking about me acting shady? Okay. The thing is, Hayden, she literally caught you dead to rights in your own office with Marie. So there's no denying that. But on the flip side, she does say, like, what about all the shady behavior, the secretive texts and phone calls and whatnot? So don't be, trying to come at me about cheating when you aren't being honest your damn self. So then he just ups and leaves. And what does she throw at him? Is like, oh, you throw like a girl too. So he closes the door. And not even 2 seconds later, it's Fatima at the door. And I'm like, so was she hiding behind a bush or something? Because ain't no way Hayden would just let Fatima go knock on his door to go talk to his wife. Fatima had to be high. Remember in Zatima season 1 when she caught Belinda trying to have sex with Zach? And Zach was like, wait a minute, how did you beat us home? It's like, wait a minute, I didn't even see your car in the, in front of the house. And Fatima said that she climbed to the second floor. I remember going back and taking screenshots of the exterior of the house, and it was like seemingly impossible. But at this point, I'm like, Fatima probably got a Batman grapple gun in her purse or something. That's probably how she scaled the outside. And was able to be on the bed by the time Belinda and Zach made it upstairs. So I just let it slide. So yeah, I guess she went like full ninja and was hiding in the bushes. And then as soon as Hayden left, but then again, this was right after Hayden left. So it was like Hayden would have heard the door knocking. But you know what? I'm not going to say I'm letting it slide. It's just TV logic. And I did dock a point for that. But essentially she goes in the house and talks with Tamara about if Hayden knows anything or is involved with Gary's scheme to ruin Andy's life with the marriage and whatnot. But Tamara's like, no, he ain't even think about your old girl. Matter of fact, he's getting a new thing going on. And, at first Tamara's like, look, I don't answer to you. I don't work for you anymore. But then, Fatima, course corrects her real quick. And from there, she kind of gathers 2 and 2 together like, she messed around with Gary. And then as soon as she takes leave, she's like, you know what? You married to Hayden and all this how you living? I want it better for you. And I'm thinking to myself, look, I know that these two are a very toxic, unfaithful pair. But at the very least, Tamara isn't married to someone who has a bunch of baby mamas. So there's that. I'm just saying. So we go over to Gary's office. He's over there, doing his thing as always, causing trouble. Jordan comes in. And, he grabs him by the shirt like he about to do something. But then he just backs off because he knows that Gary's doing something to Andy. But like, oh, what you going to do? You going to what? Beat my ass or something? And then Jordan just backs off. And I'm thinking like, bro, what was the point of going over there if you weren't going to do anything? Like, come on. Like, what's the point? So essentially, he just leaves. That's it. And then he goes over to the juice shop and he talks to Rich and Tony comes in. Basically, they're all comparing notes, and at the end of the scene, they're all like, man, our lives are just full of drama. And I'm thinking to myself, these 3 knuckleheads I bet they wish they could go back to season 6. And during the blind date with Andy, they all just went their own separate ways as opposed to going on a stroll down the sidewalk and then taking that bus ride with Andy, Sabrina, and Danny, because their lives have all been a bit hectic ever since they got involved with these women. So, I mean, that was their call, though. They chose to do that because, Rich is having the whole ordeal with, his girl getting impregnated by another dude. Then you got, the whole situation with Tiffany setting off Danny. And then from there, you have the situation with Gary and Andy. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. So from there, we got Fatima who confronts Gary. Okay, look, to make it short and sweet, because I've talked about this enough on Twitter and whatnot. Fatima was the aggressor in this scene. I know people, and I'm looking at things from the logical legal perspective of if this were to go into the court of law for whatever reason. Gary's a piece of trash. I'm not saying she isn't, but Fatima went over there, and I'm thinking like, what did you expect would happen? So I don't know what was worse, the way this scene played out or how Fatima just felt not like herself, because this just felt, and I hate to say completely out of character. We've seen her go on, just basically see red and go after whoever she feels is guilty of whatever. Best example was when she took the baseball bat over to Hayden's after Zach got arrested. But she went to confront Gary, and Gary's imitation of, oh, what are you over here to say? Like, you won't get away with this. His imitation of Fatima I thought was hilarious. Basically putting it where it's like, look, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how you feel, you, Jordan, those other heifers, y'all can't stop me. Andy's about to be mine. I'm done talking to you. And Gary is trying to leave. What does Fatima do? Grab him. The security dude at the front door is about to come over, but Gary gestures like, no, it's all right, I got this. Then the conversation continues further. And then we have Gary just gloating, oh, yeah, tell your man. Yeah, I'm taking very good care of his coins. Basically taking a jab at Zach because he still has his money. So yet again, Gary turns to leave. What does Fatima do? I'm not done talking to you. Don't you walk away from me. Grabs him a second time. The guard comes over and grabs Fatima. Then from there, Gary starts to walk off and it's like, look, take her purse, because he knows from experience she got who knows what in that purse, whether it be guns, knives, or both. Because let's not forget, the last time Fatima went over to the building with Andy, she held a knife at dude's throat. Fatima did that. So getting the guard to take the purse, I don't think is, out of the norm, or not unnecessary, because he knows Fatima's packing. And also when he went over to the penthouse, well, I think, or Andy called him over to the penthouse and Fatima was there, she had that duffel bag, the gym bag full of stuff. So no, Gary knows that purse is her utility belt and to take it away. So the thing was, Fatima shoved the security dude first, and then after taking the purse, he shoved her to the ground. Now, I do feel like that was a bit too much, but the thing was, if you look at this scene as an isolated scene, take away the fact that Gary's trash and the fact that Fatima went over there, to take care of this. Gary was the one who was, basically, Fatima was the one who escalated the situation, And then the fact that she looked dumbfounded after she got shoved. I'm like, is this the same Fatima that grabbed Deja by the hair out of the hot tub and beat her ass? The same Fatima with the baseball bat that freaked up all of Hayden's stuff? The same Fatima? The list goes on and on. I just can't believe it. So essentially, this leads to the end of the towards the end of the episode, where Fatima, she's just like angry quiet. And she's calling her cousin a situation she needs handled. And I'm thinking to myself, if the justification of her calling Madam is due to, her getting shoved, I think that's a flimsy reason to do so. This reminds me of season 3 when, similar to this scene, Fatima confronted the, person causing trouble, Hayden, even though she did just jump into his car without permission. She basically just asked, like, look, leave me and my man alone. No, I'm just getting started. She takes out the brass knuckles, pops him in the face 3 times. He grabbed her arm and backhanded her. Keep in mind, this was after she already wailed on him. Then from there, she whistled and then sent the 3 dudes to come beat his ass. And I'm like, so it looks like to me that Fatima has the contingency of, I'm going over there in the name of peace. I'm going to ask the person, stop effing with me and or my friends or my man, and everything will be cool. And if they decide they won't, I'm going to poke the bear to get the male to attack me, and then I'm going to use that as justification for whatever lethal force I use next. I don't like that, but that's just me. So from there, we go back to earlier in the episode with the sneak peek, because most of this episode, I feel like we wasted a lot of time in the hospital scenes. But, Sabrina, Damani comes over. Oh, yeah, also, I got to say, another word of praise to the writers going to the sisters dynamic. I like how Karen and Sabrina have more scenes, if not just dialogue over the phone together. So it's the morning of the fertilization procedure, freezing her eggs or whatever. And Karen just calls Sabrina, make sure she's well rested. And she does kind of regret that her man, Rich, isn't going to be the father. But you know what? Hey, just keep strong. This is what you want. And I'm sure everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And the girls are all coming in full force to support her. So Damani actually shows up to surprise her with flowers, claiming that, oh, yeah, I want to come over here and do something nice for you. And then they're talking, and again, Sabrina looks good. Also, some people want to give Sabrina flack. Like, what kind of woman is up here, with a dude that she claims isn't someone she's interested in, and isn't going to be the father of the kid, in terms of co-parenting. And they're just sitting on the couch at leisure, just all chilling, and she's in her bedroom attire. The thing is, Damani's the one who came over unannounced early in the morning, so I kind of give Sabrina a pass for that. And on top of that, Rich comes over and he's kind of an asshole, to be completely honest. He just comes over and shows his whole ass, just going in on Damani and just leaves. He just basically comes and that's it. I don't really know what else to say. I get it. I get what he's. I get how he's feeling though. But I mean, look, you and Sabrina should have just ended things a while ago. But then we go over to the hospital, and this is when things get kind of weird. So, Maurice shows up, and Damani shows up, introduce himself, and Maurice is basically Maurice. A bit vulgar. There were way too many, dick jokes and things like that about him being the donor and whatnot. And that goes for Danny too, not just Maurice. But essentially it's like, yeah, it's going to be pretty weird, y'all, the co-parenting and whatnot. And then Sabrina, and you could tell by the background music what kind of scene this was. It's like, oh no, we're not co-parenting. There's already Maurice, there's an understanding. He's just going to donate his sperm and it will go through the procedure, and that's that. And then you could tell by Damani's reaction that he wasn't really feeling it, because this is really conflicting. Now, a few episodes ago, she's like, hey, Damani, like, you do realize if you donate your sperm and I have this kid, we're not going to be raising the child together, right? And then he's like, well, that's only if you choose not to have me a part of the child's life. And Sabrina kind of looked in maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Then the following episode, when Rich is feeling some kind of way about it, he's like, so what? Like, you're still going to keep in contact with this dude or what? Well, I mean, yeah, phone numbers and whatnot, because the child grows up and wants to know more about, his or her biological father. We felt like that would be a great way to kind of, make sure any questions can be answered. And it's like, nah, that's kind of like you kind of leaving the door, a crack in the door open for Damani to come in, especially with how she lied to Rich about, oh, Damani doesn't like me. I know he doesn't, even though all signs point to the contrary. And then later on, when the girls show up and they meet him, we actually get to the point where the doctor comes in and is like, okay, one person could come back with you. And I think the girls volunteer, even Maurice, but she chooses Damani to go back there. And it's like, okay, so, all right. But then outside, this is actually something I want to give a point for with the writers. The fact that social media, using that, Maurice is aware about Andy representing, Marie Willis. And turns out the soon-to-be ex-husband is, or was, a frequent customer on his fixation page. And this could actually turn things around in Andy's favor when it comes to helping Marie win her case against her ex-husband. So this could be the key needed to prove his infidelity somehow. I don't really know how that works, because it's just a page you went on. Like, if a divorce situation is happening and like one of the spouses had an OnlyFans account where they subscribe to, a person, like, does that count as infidelity? I don't think so, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But essentially, we're almost done. Just a couple more things. I think everything else in relation to discussion has to do with Karen at the salon and the crib scene. The crib scene. Now, oh yeah, also when the ladies are waiting at the hospital, Gary gives Andy a call about Jordan and Fatima's failed attempts. Like, look, let somebody else try something like that. I want to make your life a living hell. So all these characters trying to confront Gary are just making things worse for Andy, who just, for whatever reason, won't tell people what's going on. Also, Danny had a brief therapy scene about the whole situation with Tony and his ex-wife. And I also like how that leads to her going to the law firm prior to the hospital visit to be there for Sabrina, simply because she knows that Andy's lying about the Gary stuff. And I just love how therapy is helping Danny to mellow out. And rather than, say, oh, you're crazy, it's like, no. I realize the whole toxic thing between you and Gary, but therapy, it helps me. Look, and we all need therapy, but I wanted to talk with you because I know from experience, hey, I'm living it right now, that therapy has been helping me. So I thought that was a great scene, similar to how, Sabrina got the phone call from Karen to check in on her. Now, from there, Karen confronts Trey about the whole situation about seeing Trey with another woman outside of the grocery store. And apparently Pam gossips around the salon about how much he's feeling Trey and how they're together, even though he makes it clear. But look, me and her aren't exclusive. Well, does she know that? And that leads to him talking to Pam because Karen like, oh, I'll be in the back if you need anything. And then she kind of looks at Trey. And basically she told him to like make sure Pam knows what's up. So when he does talk with Pam one-on-one, it's revealed that Pam already knows that she and Trey aren't exclusive and that there's another girl he's seeing, I believe, named Monique. But then the twist is, oh, Karen's still looking out for me even though she's mad about the whole credit card thing. And I guess that's how they kind of mend fences, so to speak. But it just goes to show, like, you know, Karen, some people are like, well, Karen was just looking out for Pam. Yeah, but I don't know. Some people have said, like, is there kind of a side of shade to it because of the whole thing where at first she was the one that Trey was into, but then Pam wanted to kind of scoop up her rejected leftovers? I don't know, but regardless, I guess she's being a real one, as they say. I don't know. But Trey does make a point to, you know, justify the whole credit card thing. Like, look, you need to give Karen a cut of Roots to Riches since you utilized her, you know, company funds to create your own company. And I just hate the fact that Pam needed to be told this, but I don't know. All's well that ends well. So from there, we go over to Zach coming over to Karen's apartment, and he didn't know Aaron was going to be there. And this was just a weird scene of forced tension. It's kind of just off-putting considering that Zach was the one who wanted to, you know, make peace and work together for the sake of the kids. Yet for whatever reason, he just has a problem that Aaron is there. I'm like, yo, did you think you would go over there and be alone with Karen? And I don't know, because Karen apparently texted both men to say, hey, the cribs arrived, and, you know, if you wanted to come over and put them together. So that happened. And I don't know, Zach is just being written as the macho guy who doesn't read instructions because he doesn't need to, whereas Aaron is the more level-headed one, and then Miss Lisa has to like break the tension. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. Zach worked in chain breakers, renovating properties, houses and stuff. How is he having issues putting together a crib? There's that. And then Miss Lisa, I did a separate video apologizing to Miss Lisa because I misheard what she said. You know, where she talked about how, you know, in cases of raising these kids and you're co-parenting and whatnot, essentially you're going to run into issues like this where one of you is better than the other at something. So just utilize your strengths in order to raise these kids and, you know, make sure my daughter's taken care of. So basically, Aaron, there are things you're good at that Zach isn't. Zach, utilize your skills of financial windfalls to make sure both my grandbabies have healthy college funds. Now, initially, I thought it was like she was saying, wait a minute, is she trying to make it where Zach has to put together college funds for both kids? No, that's not what she was saying. Basically, utilize his skills. It's like, hey, Aaron puts money in for his child. Zach, you use your skills for your knack for financial windfalls to, you know, cultivate that nest egg. Okay, I like that. Basically, both parties utilize their skills to help the other. There we go. Enough said. But then it kind of made Zach look like a chump, saying like, you know, you go home and start crunching numbers. Aaron will stay here and fix the cribs, and we'll lock the door behind you. So there's that. But I get it. It was supposed to be comedic and whatnot. It just felt like it was done at the expense of Zach, though. But whatever. That's it. Yeah, that's the episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope and pray not the penultimate, but the season finale is good, because this season, oh boy, it's going to be a doozy. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video.